New York City, 1971, May, ABC Television Studios, 7th Avenue. In a TV studio hallway, two men meet. One is Joe Frazier, 27 years old, heavyweight champion of the world, defeated Muhammad Ali 2 months ago, won the greatest fight in history. The other is Howard Cosell, 53 years old, America's most famous sports broadcaster. Millions watch him every week, his voice everywhere, his face everywhere. Two men standing in a hallway, no cameras, no microphones, just Joe and Howard. And Joe is about to ask a question Howard never expected, a question whose answer will forever change Joe's life, Howard's career, and their relationship. Howard, why don't you like me? The 8 minutes after that question will take two men from friends to enemies, from enemies to true friendship. And 40 years later, when Howard Cosell speaks at Joe Frazier's funeral, what he says will make everyone cry. But first we need to look at Joe Frazier before he asks this question. March 8, 1971. Madison Square Garden. Joe Frazier versus Muhammad Ali. Fight of the century. Two undefeated champions. First time face-to-face, 20,000 spectators, 300 million watching on TV. The world stopped that night, and Joe won. 15 rounds, judge's decision, Ali's first loss. Joe remained champion. But what did the newspapers write the next day? Ali lost. Ali's fall. Ali's first defeat. Joe's name, not in headlines. Ali's name. Joe won, but media talking about Ali. As if Ali had won. As if Joe wasn't even there. Howard Cosell did ringside commentary for that fight, for ABC Sports. What did Howard say during the fight? Ali making beautiful moves. Ali's combinations are magnificent. Ali getting tired, but still dangerous. When Joe won in the 15th round, Howard said into the microphone, "Muhammad Ali lost today, but he will remain undefeated in our hearts." Joe heard this on TV in the locker room. In our hearts. Whose heart is Howard talking about? His own heart. Because Howard loves Ali, everyone knows. Howard and Ali are friends, close friends. Every week Ali is a guest on Howard's show. They joke, they laugh. Howard calls Ali champion, even when he loses fights. But what does he call Joe? Frazier, last name, cold, distant, professional, but not personal. Joe notices this. In every interview. One day Joe is called to ABC. Howard's show, Wide World of Sports, live broadcast. Howard asks, "Joe, you beat Ali? How do you feel?" Joe answers, "I worked hard, Howard. 12 years. Finally became champion. I'm proud." Howard nods. "Of course. But what do you think about Ali's performance? Ali wasn't himself today, was he?" Joe pauses. "Howard, I won. Ali lost. More than performance. The result matters." Howard, "But Joe, everyone wonders. If Ali was in full form, would the result be different?" Joe getting angry, but doesn't show it. Just says, "I was in full form, Howard. So was he. The winner is me. That's it." Interview ends. Joe leaves the studio. Linda, Joe's wife, waiting at the door. "Joe, were you okay?" Joe, "No. Howard turned everything to Ali. I won, but he talked about Ali." This doesn't happen just once. Happens again and again. Every interview the same. Howard asks about Ali. Joe answers about himself. Howard doesn't listen. As if Joe isn't there. As if Joe is just a supporting character in Ali's story. An obstacle. A temporary stop. But not the real champion. Joe feels this. Every time. And it hurts. Because Joe has been seeking respect since childhood. Grew up in poverty in South Carolina. Worked in cotton fields. Moved to Philadelphia. To become a boxer. To earn respect. To make a name. To be somebody. And now he's world champion. Won the biggest fight, but still no respect. Still in Ali's shadow. May 1971. Joe comes to ABC Studios for another show. They're shooting a commercial. Wheaties box. Breakfast of Champions. Joe arrives early. Waiting in makeup room. Howard passes through the hallway, going to another show. Joe opens the makeup room door, sees Howard. Howard sees Joe too. "Joe, how are you?" Howard from distance. Professional, polite, but not genuine. Joe makes a decision. Now, here, time has come. Joe exits the makeup room, walks toward Howard. In the hallway, people around, technical crew, producers, but Joe doesn't care. Howard stops. "Joe, is something wrong?" Joe asks directly. "Howard, why don't you like me?" The hallway goes silent. People turn, looking. Howard surprised. "What? Joe, I do like you." Joe shakes his head. "No, Howard, you don't. You love Ali. Every interview, every show. Ali, Ali, Ali. I'm the champion, but you talk about Ali. Why?" Howard uncomfortable. People around. "Joe, this isn't the right place. Come to my office. Let's talk." Joe. "No, Howard, here. Now, because I've been waiting years for an answer." Howard swallows, looks around, then looks back at Joe, and sees something in Joe's eyes. Pain, real pain. This isn't just ego. This is seeking respect, seeking to be seen as human. Howard takes deep breath. "Okay, Joe, if you want, let's talk here." People around move away, but still listening. Howard begins. "Joe, you're right. I love Ali." Joe. "Why? What did I do to you? Why don't you love me, but you love Ali?" Howard pauses. This answer isn't easy, because he needs to be honest, and honesty hurts. "Joe, Ali is my friend, personally. You're my friend too, but different." Joe. "How different?" Howard. "Ali. Ali talks. You don't talk. Ali performs. You don't perform. Ali is magnificent in interviews. You give one-word answers. As a broadcaster, Joe, Ali gives me material. You give me silence." Joe shocked. "So I'm boring?" Howard. "No, Joe. You're dignified. But dignity doesn't make headlines. Ali's mouth makes headlines." Joe. "So I have to talk loud to be loved?" Howard. "No, Joe. You don't have to change. But that's the reality. I'm a broadcaster. My job is to tell stories. Ali gives stories. Every day a new story. You just do your job and go home. That's a great character trait. But for TV, it's difficult." Joe silent, processing, then asks, "Do you respect me?" Howard immediately. "Joe, I deeply respect you. You're one of the best boxers in history. You beat Ali. Nobody did that. You're magnificent." Joe. "But you don't love me." Howard pauses. "Joe, I want to love you, but I don't know you. You don't let me." Joe frowns. "What do you mean?" Howard. "Joe, every interview I ask you about your life. I talk about your family. I mention your childhood. But you answer with one word. Good. Fine. Thanks. I want to go deeper, but you don't let me. Ali shares everything. Vietnam, Islam, injustice, his feelings, his fears, his dreams. I know Ali because he shows himself to me. But you build walls." Joe. "Because, Howard, I prefer fighting over talking. I prove who I am in the ring, not on the microphone." Howard. "But the world hears microphones, Joe. Only 20,000 see the ring. 300 million watch television. And those 300 million want to hear your voice." Joe thinks long. Then, "I don't want to be like Ali, Howard. He shouts. I'm quiet. He performs. I work. Does this make me bad?" Howard shakes his head. "No, Joe. This makes you different. But being different is hard, because the world loves loud voices, not quiet champions." Joe. "What about you? Who do you love? The loud voice or the quiet champion?" Howard answers, and this answer changes everything. "Joe, do you want the honest answer?" Joe. Always. Howard. As a broadcaster, I love Ali because he's good TV. But as a human being, I respect you mixed with admiration because you're real. Ali is a persona. You're Joe Frazier. Ali is a role Cassius Clay plays. But this respect isn't love. Love comes from knowing. And I don't know you. Joe. Do you want to know me? Howard. Yes. Joe. Okay. Will you ask or should I tell? Howard smiles. You tell Joe for the first time? Talk about yourself. Joe takes deep breath and starts telling. In the hallway, no cameras, no microphones, just Joe and Howard. Joe tells about South Carolina, his 12 siblings, the poverty, his father beating him, his escape to Philadelphia, finding boxing, Yank Durham, the Olympic chants, the broken thumb in Tokyo, waking up at 5 every morning, the runs at the slaughterhouse, Ali calling him Gorilla, calling him Uncle Tom, how it hurt, but still trying to prove himself in the ring. He tells everything. 20 minutes. In the hallway. Howard listens. Just listens. Doesn't interrupt. Doesn't ask questions. For the first time, Joe Frazier is talking, and Howard Cosell is listening. When Joe finishes, his eyes are full. That's it, Howard. I'm this man. Quiet, but not broken. Calm, but not weak. I just prefer doing over-talking. Howard's silent, then reaches out, puts his hand on Joe's shoulder. Joe, I'm sorry. I judged you without knowing you. Because I love Ali, I neglected you. That's unfair. You're a magnificent person, a magnificent champion. And from now on, I'll watch you not just with respect, but with understanding. Joe. Will you love me? Howard smiles. Joe, love takes time, but it started today. Everything changed after that day. Howard's interviews changed. Now he's not just asking about Ali, but deeply questioning Joe, too. Joe's past, his struggle, his family, and Joe opens up, slowly. A little more in each interview, because Howard is no longer just a broadcaster. He's someone who listens, someone who understands. 1973. Joe loses to Foreman, loses the belt. Howard first to call. Joe, how are you? Joe. I'm bad, Howard. Lost for the first time. Howard. Joe, you're still a champion. The belt is temporary. Character is forever. 1975. Manila. Joe and Ali third fight. Thriller in Manila. Joe loses. Eddie throws the towel after the 14th round. Joe devastated. Howard comes to the locker room. No cameras, just visiting. Joe, today I saw a warrior, saw a champion, didn't see a loser. Joe crying. Howard, it's over. I'm done. Howard. No, Joe, it's beginning. A new chapter. And I'll be with you. 1976, Joe retires. Howard does the final interview, live broadcast. Joe Frazier retires with a 32-4-1 record, but numbers don't tell Joe's story. Joe was a quiet champion, fought with dignity, won with dignity, lost with dignity, and leaves with dignity. Joe, do you want to say goodbye to television? Joe. Howard, I never loved television, but I loved you. Thank you. Howard's eyes full. Joe, the honor was mine. 1995. Howard Cosell retires, 77 years old, Parkinson's disease, can't speak anymore. Joe visits, Howard in bed, weak, trembling. Joe holds his hand. Howard, can you hear me? Howard opens his eyes, nods slightly. Joe. Howard, you told me something in 1971. You said love takes time. 24 years passed. Now I can say it. I love you, Howard. Not just respect. Love. Tears flowing from Howard's eyes. Can't speak, but it's understood. He loves, too. 1995. Howard Cosell dies. Joe at the funeral, giving a speech. Howard Cosell didn't love me at first. But he started loving me because I let him. I opened the door, and he came in. Most people ask, why don't people love me? But the right question is, do you let people love you? Howard taught me this. Being quiet is strong, but staying quiet and not letting anyone in is wrong. Howard came in and changed my life. 2011, Joe Frazier dies. Liver cancer, 67 years old. At the funeral, an old video plays. 1971. Joe and Howard in the hallway. A cameraman accidentally filmed it. No sound, but there's footage. Joe talking, Howard listening. Joe's eyes full, Howard's hand on Joe's shoulder. Two men, a hallway, a conversation, and a friendship is born. Text on screen. 1971. Joe asks, "Why don't you like me?" Howard answers, "Because I don't know you." Joe opens up. Howard listens. Love begins. 1995. Howard dies. 2011. Joe dies, but love remains. Joe Frazier beat Ali, lost to Foreman, stopped in Manila, but his real victory was different. In 1971, in a hallway, he asked Howard Cosell a question and got an answer, a painful answer, an honest answer. "I don't know you." And Joe made a decision to open the door, to let someone in, to show himself. Because love doesn't come without knowing. Respect can come from distance, but love comes from closeness, and closeness requires permission. How many people have you opened your door to? How many people really know you? Or are you also a quiet champion, building dignity but lonely? Because Joe learned over 40 years, being strong is being quiet, but being happy is sharing. Howard didn't love Joe in 1971. When he died in 1995, he loved Joe because Joe let him. The question he asked started everything. "Why don't you like me?" The answer hurt, but it was true, and truth is the first step of love. Do you have the courage to ask? Why don't you like me? And are you ready to hear the answer? Because the answer might hurt, but pain grows you, growth connects, connection loves, and love changes everything. Joe Frazier asked a question in 1971. When he died 40 years later, Howard Cosell had loved him. One question, 8 minutes of conversation, 40 years of friendship, a painful beginning, a beautiful ending. That's Joe Frazier's real victory, not in the ring, in the hallway, not with fists, with words. The quiet champion spoke, and the world listened. Most importantly, Howard listened and loved.